Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, let me welcome everyone. Thank you again for joining us tonight for this webinar. Again, my name is JT Fannin. I'm your APhA-ASP Speaker of the House. I want to welcome you to the Back the PAC webinar hosted by your 2013-2014 APhA-ASP Policy Standing Committee. The purpose of our webinar tonight is for us all to help understand the importance and the background of this campaign. We're really hoping to share some of the ideas and stories with you that will show you how simple it can be to host and support this campaign at your chapter. We also hope that you'll take this opportunity to share with us some of the experiences that your chapter has had, so be ready to pipe up toward the end of our discussion with some questions or some examples of how we can all improve. I want to show you all of our presenters this evening. We have with us the APhA Senior Lobbyist Michael Spira, our Senior Manager of Grassroots Advocacy in the PAC, Lauren DePuter. Again, my name is JT Fannin. Also, our Policy Standing Committee is with us tonight: Jared Brashler, Eliza Daubert, Susan Dickey, and Brian Primo. Before we get started with the meat of our presentation tonight, let's go over just a few logistics. You will see on your screen there on the panel on the side several options with GoToMeeting. And there are different ways that you can listen in tonight. Everybody is muted at this point, but you can also jump in on a telephone or your cell phone if you would like, if you can hear a little bit better. There are options to dial in. You can find that in your speaker options, and you'll dial in, use the access code, and then enter that audio pin they give you, and you can listen in and control everything with your computer, but listen on your phone if that's more comfortable for you. In terms of speaking, if you do have a question, there's an opportunity to raise your hand, or you can type in questions, but we do ask that while you're not speaking, go ahead and keep yourself muted. And if you're on your phone, keep your phone muted while you're not speaking so we don't get any feedback. Go ahead to the next slide there. Thank you. So this is your opportunity when we get toward the end for the Q&A portion. If you do have a question, you can hit the raise your hand icon, and we can try to let you speak through your phone or through your speakers or through your microphone on your computer to ask your question to us live if you'd like to do that in audio, or you can just type in your question there in the question box, and one of the staff will read that out, and we'll have someone answer that question for you as well. So without any further ado, I want to hand this off to our Policy Standing Committee Vice Chair, Susan, and she's going to present to you the next several slides. Go ahead, Susan.
Thanks, JT. So this evening we will be providing an overview of the APhA PAC, and we will discuss updates to the 2014 Fundraising Challenge. We are happy tonight to have with us APhA Senior Lobbyist Michael Spira, as well as the Senior Manager for Grassroots Advocacy in the PAC, Lauren DePuter, and they're going to provide some additional insight on the APhA Political Action Committee. We will also review the guidelines for the Fundraising Challenge, and we'll provide a number of different creative ideas that you can use at your chapter to make your fundraising efforts a success. So we're going to start out with our first poll question of the evening, which is asking if you know what a PAC is. So you should see the answer choices on your screen and choose the best answer of what a PAC is. We'll give you just a few more moments to answer the poll. All right, I'm going to close polling in 5 seconds. And the poll is now closed. So we had 2% respond that a PAC is a performing arts center. No one this evening was in favor of a polycyclic aromatic compound. We had a few votes for the Professional Advisory Council, and most of you, 95% of you this evening, voted that the PAC is a political action committee. And you are all correct. These are all different acronyms, but this evening the one we're talking about is what most of you chose, the Political Action Committee. So the overall goal of the APhA Political Action Committee is to protect and promote the profession of pharmacy. This is accomplished by supporting candidates for federal office who have demonstrated support for pharmacy issues and recognize the value of pharmacists in the healthcare system. The government affairs staff and the Political Action Committee leaders really work to build positive relationships with elected officials and candidates who make policy decisions that affect pharmacists. And these champions will be key to the future of our profession and to pharmacists' role in the healthcare team. With donations from pharmacists, student pharmacists, and others who are mutually interested in the profession of pharmacy, we're able to have a political voice and a united front on Capitol Hill. So with that, we're going to go into our next poll question, which is if you and your chapter participated in the Winter is Cold but Advocacy is Hot campaign last year. So again, I'll open this poll, and you can answer yes, that your chapter did participate, you did not, or you may have not been involved, so you're not sure. And we'll take about 5 more seconds to answer the poll question. All right, and it looks like 38% of you did participate in the Winter is Cold but Advocacy is Hot campaign last year. 40% of you did not, and 21% of you are not sure if your chapter participated. So we're really excited that you are all on this webinar tonight and are hopefully interested in participating in the campaign this year. So with that, I am going to turn it over to one of our Policy Standing Committee members, Eliza Daubert.
Hi, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for the webinar tonight. I'm sure that many of you participated in the vote for our new name for our PAC as we are revamping the entire campaign this year. And I'm very pleased to announce that the votes are in, and our new name this year is going to be, drum roll please, Back to the PAC. So we're very excited to unveil this whole new concept for our campaign. And what this idea is going to entail is the chapter PAC fundraising campaign that we've had for several years now, and it's also known as the PAC Match Challenge. So we like to try to get new practitioners and alumni members involved to match the funds that are raised by a chapter. I know that a little bit later we're going to have a guest talk about how successful her chapter has been at doing this, and it certainly makes new practitioners and alumni feel like they're really an integral part of the PAC as well as APhA. So this will be a competition between the chapters to see who can raise the most funds for the APhA PAC. And this year we're very excited to announce that the fundraiser will be taking place for a prolonged period. December 1st, it actually started, and it will be running until the end of March, the third week of March, March 21st, 2014. And so we hope that with this extended time, you all will be able to have even more participation and more great fundraisers to benefit on the Political Action Committee. So why we would like to raise money for this, I think many of you are probably familiar with all of the great things that the PAC does. But it's very important to us as APhA-ASP members because its sole purpose is actually to protect and promote our profession. So I know that a lot of times it's not nice to think that we need to raise funds to get our voice heard, but unfortunately this is part of the political process in our country, and in order to have our interests recognized on Capitol Hill, we need to have a PAC to back us. And so the top 5 winning teams who raise the most for this fundraising challenge will be recognized at APhA 2014. And that's going to be a very, very nice award for the school to win who raises the most money. And of course, we want to, first and foremost, complete this fundraiser to raise political awareness and get more students involved in policy and advocacy. So tonight I would like to introduce our guest speakers. We have Michael Spira, who is APhA's senior lobbyist, as well as Lauren D. Putter. She is APHA's Senior Manager and the Grassroots Advocacy and PAC leader, and so she is really your go-to person for questions that you may have on this fundraiser, as well as just any questions regarding the PAC. So a few of the things that they're going to be addressing this evening is why this campaign is important, as well as how students can impact the PAC. Then they're going to talk a little bit about what the PAC actually does with the funds that are raised. And lastly, we're going to go over some of the rules that are related to soliciting funds from students so that everyone starts out on the same page and we can really have a successful campaign. So without further ado, I want to thank them for joining us tonight and turn it over to Michael and Lauren.
Hi, Liza. Thank you. Thanks for everyone for joining us tonight. We just want to go over a little bit of the campaign. As of right now, the campaign is incredibly important to keeping APhA PAC strong and robust on the Hill. It's our primary source of funding. Student pharmacists make up the majority of APhA, and the involvement of students in the Political Action Committee is crucial to influencing Congress's decisions that will affect the future of pharmacy. As you know, Congress isn't always making the best decisions, but having a strong PAC allows us to help them make the best decisions for healthcare. And if we get and keep lawmakers in office that recognize the value of pharmacists in the healthcare system, that'll be the best for all pharmacists in the system. The pharmacy champions will be the keys to the future of the profession and pharmacist role on the healthcare team of today and tomorrow. You have to pay to play in this system. Every single association and corporation out there has a PAC, and that's how they influence Congress. Students make a huge impact on the PAC by educating their peers on the importance of political advocacy and raising funds for the PAC. They even help raise the awareness of the PAC with alumni. I don't think the alumni would be as involved if it wasn't for this campaign. Students also, Congress wants to hear from students mainly. They want to know how pharmacists are going to improve the health in their communities and how they're going to help cut costs and improve quality. That's really what everyone's talking about today, and pharmacists can play a key role in that, and the PAC really helps us. It really helps us connect with Congress and our legislators and lets them know what pharmacists are doing. What we do with some of the funds is every single cent goes to members of Congress or candidates. And the members of Congress they sit on key healthcare committees, such as House Ways and Means, Energy and Commerce, and the House, and then there's the Finance Committee in the Senate, and the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee also in the Senate. They can author legislation. Sometimes it's if they're supporting or voting on pharmacy initiatives. Every single cent goes to helping support and promote pharmacy, the future of pharmacy, and legislation that helps out pharmacists. Some of the rules, just be very aware of the rules for this campaign. We don't want to get in trouble with the Federal Election Commission. Just make sure everybody that is solicited for money for the PAC is a member of APhA. Whether alumni or students, just make sure that if they are asked for money that they're already a member of APhA. If you're planning on doing a
that we may have lost Lauren's audio there for a moment, but hopefully she can come back and join us shortly. But we do thank you so much, Lauren, for being there, and hopefully you'll be able to join us more. Michael, would you like to?
Here, I can jump in for a little bit if that's okay.
Great.
While we're trying Lauren to come back. So just as you're looking to put your events together, if you have questions, if you have things you'd like to do but you're not sure, please make sure you reach out to us. We're here to help. We're here to make sure that whatever you put together is a great event, but also at the same time is allowed under FEC. The FEC has some very strange and odd rules that we must follow. Like Lauren said, the only people that you can solicit must be other members of APhA. You cannot ask for donations from those who are not a member of APhA. So that's just a very important thing, and that's the number one issue. If you're not sure if everyone in the room is a member of APhA, then you can't ask. Only ask those within the room. Something else I want to bring up, going back to what does the PAC do with the funds, there are 0 members of Congress who are pharmacists. Every other healthcare professional has someone within Congress who has the same background profession. There are currently 0 pharmacists in Congress. So it's important for us, not as we educate, but that as we're educating and forming these relationships and growing our network, that we make sure that our supporters, our champions, who are introducing bills on our behalf, amendments, letters, so on and so forth, stay in Congress. So that's why it's important that we raise these funds so we can donate to the campaigns of our champion supporters. So that is why we are so happy that you all are on this webinar tonight. And please, if you do have questions, comments, thoughts, ask them tonight, or feel free to reach out to any of us as the campaign, the Back the PAC campaign, continues. So with that, I'll kick it back to Susan.
Thank you so much, Michael and Lauren, both. And time permitting, they'll both be available to answer any questions at the end of the webinar. So we really want to thank you for being here. So as Michael and Lauren both talked about, we really do want you and your chapters to be creative and to have fun with this challenge. But the APhA PAC is regulated by the Federal Election Commission laws. So there are some specific limitations to who, how, and when donations can be solicited and collected. So first, please do get approval from your chapter advisor, from other chapter leadership, and from your school or college of pharmacy prior to holding any fundraising events for the APhA PAC. Additionally, all events must be nonpartisan. And as Michael and Lauren mentioned, it's very important that you only accept donations from active APhA members. So this includes student pharmacists that contribute to the campaign, as well as alumni or faculty that may participate in a match program or contribute to your campaign in any way. So please use the disclaimer that's listed on this slide for all of your fundraising events, and a document with the complete APhA PAC fundraising rules, including this disclaimer statement, are available in the Policy Vice President Toolkit on Pharmacists.com. So I want to talk now just a little bit about Government Affairs. And Government Affairs is a department within the American Pharmacists Association that works to keep members up to date on current issues affecting the profession. Government Affairs then provides resources to assist APhA and its members in educating and influencing legislators, policymakers, regulators, and the public on specific issues that are important to advancing the practice of pharmacy. So you can find the resources provided by the Government Affairs by going to Pharmacists.com, logging in, and clicking on the Action link under Get Involved. This will take you to the Legislative Action Center, and within the Legislative Action Center, you can sign up to be an advocacy key contact and receive important notices from APhA when the organization has done all that they can do to advocate for an issue, and they now really require your help to influence our elected officials. You can also learn about key issues that are currently affecting the field of pharmacy and about how your representatives have voted on these issues in the past. And lastly, you can use information provided by Government Affairs in the form of pre-populated letters on a variety of different topics to contact your own elected officials. These letters that are available can be modified to allow you to tell your elected officials your own personal story and really explain why their vote on a particular issue is important to you. In addition to all of these resources, Government Affairs also helps raise money for the APhA PAC. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jared Brashler, who's going to share some different creative ideas for how your chapter can fundraise for the APhA PAC.
All right, thank you, Susan, very much. Thanks for having me. So there's a variety of different ways to fundraise for APhA PAC, and we'd like to provide you with a few ideas today. So first, you can play a game of PAC trivia. So every student pharmacist needs to purchase a ticket, it could be $1 or $2, to be able to participate in this informative/lucrative business. So the policy vice president can hand out tickets before class or throughout the day and ask trivia questions regarding the APhA PAC. So student pharmacists that answer correctly could receive a simple $5 gift card to various stores like Starbucks, Best Buy, Target, stuff like that. Next would be a raffle. That's always an easy fundraiser. You can sell tickets before class, after class, during extracurricular activities, and hold several mini drawings to entice other soon-to-be rafflers to join in for maybe a grand drawing at a later time. Next is a political quiz game. Don't worry, this quiz won't affect your GPA, but you can participate and purchase your entrance into this quiz to be eligible, again, for a prize or becoming the valedictorian of policy and advocacy. Buzzword bingo is another fun one. This idea could be held very quickly during an APhA-ASP chapter meeting. You could sell bingo cards prior to the meeting and have a prize for bingo, double bingo, coverall, etc. Bingo cards squares could contain jargon, acronyms, and lingo pertinent to government affairs and policy. You can also hold a mock debate or a straw poll. Example of a straw poll is having 2 jars with a statement above each one, and student pharmacists could place a purchase ticket into the jar that they believe is more accurate. An example that we were thinking of at my chapter was which will become OTC first, and you can have 2 different drugs. That's a fun and interesting way to start a debate. A congressional member site visit. So as a way to show the value of the PAC, APhA staff will help set up a visit from a congressional member to tour your school, which you can then turn into a fundraiser with students who would like to meet with the legislator. Other ideas, APhA 2014 PAC reception and the other match. So with this one, forecast is not involved, as some of you may be getting involved with, but important to reiterate how important and impactful it is to have alumni match your own chapter's fundraising efforts. So definitely take or utilize that idea. And so the State of the Union address airs January 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern, and this is an excellent opportunity to have a politically themed chapter event and raise money for the PAC at the same time. And again, you can have State of the Union bingo and some buzzword bingo blanks, cards, and sample words are in the PVP toolkit. So definitely take advantage of a bingo either with the State of the Union or at a chapter meeting. And perhaps the most simple way is personal donations to the PAC may be made directly on Pharmacists.com under the tab Get Involved and then selecting APhA PAC. So with the 2013 Winter is Cold but Advocacy is Hot campaign, the first place winner was the University of Florida College of Pharmacy. They contributed the most towards the combined total of $17,000 that was raised from all the APhA-ASP chapters across the country. This evening, the Policy Vice President, Ashley, from the University of Florida, is going to share the secret behind their success. Ashley?
Thank you, Jared. My name is Ashley Rowan, and I'm from the University of Florida College of Pharmacy. And our game plan for the campaign was really to get students excited, but also to get our alumni involved. We took full advantage of the match program, and really just through word of mouth and excitement that we raised awareness on campus, we were able to raise quite a bit of money from our students, but then the alumni matched that, and that was what really put us over the top. And this was so successful because we found the one person, in your organization, maybe it's a past APhA-ASP president that's graduated, or just a really active alumni that's able to do and help you with the match and reach out for you with the match. And through our contact with them, we were really successful in utilizing that program. We also utilized something we like to call pharmacotherapy dress down days. where for some of our classes we're required to dress in professional clothing, and we allowed students to dress down if they made a donation to the PAC. So we felt that that was really successful as well. As far as advice for other APhA-ASP chapters, it's getting your students excited, getting your members excited, explaining to them what it's all about, because once they understand what the PAC is and what it means, a lot of them will just naturally get excited about it, and finding that contact person that can really help you utilize the match program that's in place.
Thank you so much, Ashley. We really appreciate your input and are grateful for your chapter for contributing so much to the APhA PAC in the past years. At this point, we would really like to hear from you. We know that a lot of your chapters have participated in the PAC Fundraising Challenge in the past, and we know that a lot of you have very creative ideas for fundraising events. So if you'd like to share, please. I apologize. If you'd like to share, you can please press the raise hand function, or you could also share your ideas in the chat box if you'd prefer us to read them to the group. So it doesn't look like we have anyone that would like to share their ideas at this point, but we would like to take them at any point throughout the rest of the webinar, and we'll have an opportunity for questions as well. So right now, we will move on to the final poll question of the evening. We've given you a lot of information about the Back to PAC program, and we'd like to know if you and your chapter will plan on participating in the Back to PAC program this year. So the final poll question is now open. So the options are yes, that you will definitely participate. No, you will not. You may participate, or perhaps your school or college of pharmacy does not allow participation in this program. So we'll give you a few seconds to answer this question. And as you're answering, we really encourage you to think about any ideas that you personally or your chapter implemented last year. Those are always very helpful to share with other chapters. So we have about 5 more seconds to continue answering the poll question. All right, I'm now going to close polling. And 51% of you answered that yes, you will definitely be participating, and 49% maybe. So we really encourage all of those maybes to reach out to other chapters, reach out to the Policy Standing Committee, or to anyone that's presented on this webinar this evening to ask questions and to find out more about how you can participate. All right, so at this point, we would really like to take any questions from you. These can be questions about how to implement the program at your chapter, or questions regarding the rules for APhA PAC fundraising. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to raise your hand or to type them into the chat box. And again, Michael and Lauren are still available to answer questions, as well as Ashley from the University of Florida. So I have one question from Lindsay Hunt. Lindsay asked, do any of the regions have competitions for this? So please correct me, Lindsay, if I misunderstood, but I believe you mean competitions within the region. And at this point, this is solely a national competition. So it's all of the chapters are in the same competition rather than in individual regions. And this way we can really honor all of the top 5 chapters overall at the annual meeting. So I hope that answers your question. We have another question from, I believe it's Bhumi Shah, that asks, what's the best way to get students motivated about the PAC? And Jared, I know that you are very good in coming up with creative ways and perhaps motivating. Would you like to take this one?
Sure. And kind of what Ashley referred to is the first step is just getting people aware, your fellow colleagues and other students, just the fact that they hear PAC and they kind of I don't know, compartmentalize it to an area they don't really want to think about. So if you can just kind of just show what the PAC is and how it really is important to contribute, it could be really lucrative, I guess, for you and your chapter, because there's just so many different ways that once you have somebody excited that the ideas will just come flowing. But that's the hardest part sometimes, is getting everyone on board and to kind of let them understand why it's important and what it is, that it's not just giving money to some person to vote your way. It's a lot more than that, kind of building a foundation for what pharmacy and the direction they need to go in. So with specific ideas, you can always check out the PVP toolkit. They always have lots of ideas. And some of the ones that are on this webinar will be uploaded onto pharmacists.com, so you can always go back to those. But again, the most important part is just to get everyone knowledgeable about it and then kind of get them excited about this competition and how you can contribute to the PAC.
Great. Thanks so much, Jared. The next question states, are there any rules regarding how we collect funds? Do checks have to be made out to APhA PAC? And Lauren or Michael, would you want to field this question?
Yeah, the checks have to be made out to APhA PAC, and they can only be from personal accounts too. FEC laws only allow contributions from individuals. So if an alum wants to give money from their business, that's fine. We have a political education account, but it won't go directly into the PAC. So I advise everything to come directly out of a personal account and made out to APhA PAC.
Thank you, Lauren. That is a great question. The next question from Francisco Franco asked, is March 21st the deadline? And yes, March 21st is the deadline, and all contributions must be postmarked by March 21st in order to count towards the competition. The next question is from Maria Martinez. Maria asked, if we want to do a bingo or some other activity, must all participants be members of APhA? So in any of the other presenters are welcome to jump in with this as well, but all contributions to the APhA PAC must be from APhA members. So anyone that is contributing any funds must be a member. So I hope that answers your question, and if not, please do type back in to clarify. We have another question that asks, would it be considered breaking the rules to hand out informative flyers to our entire class, since everyone may not be APhA members? So we do have to be careful with how we promote events, since only APhA members can contribute. I would say that I understand that can be difficult with kind of advertising your events and advertising your different fundraising activities. I would, if you are going to use any flyers or advertisements that are going to be seen by non-APhA members, I would be sure to include that disclaimer statement that was included in this PowerPoint and is also available in the Policy Vice President Toolkit on pharmacists.com. Lauren or Michael, did you want to add anything to that question about handing out informative flyers to all class members?
As long as you can hand out informative flyers, as long as there's not a direct solicitation on there. like for if they're not APhA members. It can be educational about what APhA does, what APhA PAC is. It just can't ask specifically for funds. So if you want to try to educate people on the importance of the PAC without specifically asking for funds, that's fine.
That's great. Thank you. The next question is from Jason Greer. He asked, do you have any more information on the bingo game for the PAC donations? Can we access this information on the APhA-ASP website? Jared, would you like to take this question as well?
Yes, so on pharmacists.com there should be, and I will double check after this webinar just to make sure that it's available, but there should be some blank cards and then some words to fill in the blanks for those bingo cards. I personally have made my own bingo cards, just making a 5x5 table on Microsoft Word and just filling those in with some words, some easy ones, some difficult ones, and that's a great learning or education piece too for your policy vice president to kind of educate members during a meeting about some things about the PAC. And again, that's a great way to educate your members about what it is. So I kind of made my own, and I can encourage you to make your own as well. But again, there should be some on pharmacist.com, and I will check up on that after this webinar.
Great, thank you. Next question, Lauren Kirk asks, is there a systematic way to ensure that all those that are donating to the PAC or participating in the associated events are APhA members? So depending on, especially if you're referring specifically to chapter members rather than to alumni or faculty, it's very important to use that disclaimer statement and just to make sure that all of your events, you're verbalizing to everyone there that they must be an APhA member to contribute. Beyond that, I think that a systematic way of keeping up with it would probably somewhat depend on your chapter's individual method for keeping up with your members. I don't know if, Ashley, if you have any suggestions from any methods that you used at the University of Florida to keep up with anyone that was an APhA member.
We actually have our chapter advisors print us off a list of current members, and we let our contact points have a copy of that list, and that way they can easily go through and check and see if the person is an up-to-date member.
I think that's great. It's definitely will take a little bit of work to ensure that everyone that has contributed is on your membership list. But that's definitely a great thing to just keep a current list of all of your APhA members. I hope that helps answer the question. The next question, Lauren asks, is there any sort of pre-made PowerPoint or PDF explaining the importance of the APhA PAC and what it is? Or would this be the responsibility of the individual chapter to create one? There is not a pre-made PowerPoint, but there is a document in the Policy Vice President Toolkit on Pharmacists.com that has some information about the PAC and what it is. There's also a section on Pharmacists.com that's devoted to the APhA PAC. So there are some documents available that are on Pharmacists.com. Okay, we have another question from Maria. She asked, do we need to keep a register of the specific members who contributed? Michael or Lauren, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, I'll answer it. This is Lauren. We need
I'll finish up with some technical difficulties. We would need the names, and I believe this is correct, the name and the amount that each person has donated to the chapter for the campaign, if that answers the question correctly. And if you can, I mean, any information you can include, their member ID number. I don't know if that's necessary, but definitely their name and the amount, and of course the school and any other pertinent information.
And Michael, while you're answering, could you also please answer, can students give the chapter money and the chapter write one check, or the checks need to come from the individual students that donate?
I believe it's the individual. The individual can collect all the checks, deposit them, and just send one check to Lauren, I should say to the APhA PAC.
Great, thank you so much. There was one additional question in regards to keeping up with making sure contributors are APhA members in terms of alumni and local pharmacists that contribute. And this is a great question, and you can take their word for it at first, and you can also ask them for their APhA member ID number if you prefer to confirm that they are in fact APhA members.
This is Lauren. You can also, all my information is available online and in the PowerPoint too, but if you have any questions about if a specific member, a specific person is a member of APhA before you want to solicit them, just feel free to ask me and I can always check too. But I'm here for that. Please use me as your resource.
Thanks so much, Lauren. I don't see any additional questions at this time, so I will go ahead and turn it over to JT to close out the webinar. And if you think of anything else in the last couple minutes, please feel free to type that into the chat box. JT?
Thank you very much, Susan. We'll close this out for the evening here in just a few minutes. Thank you all for your great questions. And I know that there are a lot of technical issues with doing PAC fundraisers, so I appreciate all of you and your enthusiasm for helping all of us and further promoting our profession. Let me just tell you, you're doing a great work, and working through all the confusion that can be involved in these fundraisers is definitely worth the effort. So thank you all for all the work that you're doing. I want to make sure to point out to all of you some of the resources that are available to you. I know most of the members here on the webinar tonight are policy vice presidents or chapter presidents. Any of you that are general members, we're so glad you're on here as well, and your enthusiasm for raising funds for the PAC. But for all of those of you that are interested in the resources on how to go about this, how can I learn more about it, where are some of the examples that we were talking about tonight, this is a great list of resources that are available to all of you. Certainly write down Lauren Deputer's email address. She is always available and happy to answer any questions you have, especially some of those technical issues that may be confusing you or your chapter. Feel free to reach out to her, and she'd be happy to answer those questions for you. It's right at the top of the screen there for you. Also, for you policy vice presidents and chapter presidents, you should be receiving on a monthly basis the Spark communications that are coming out from the Policy Standing Committee with lots of information about what's going on right now and updates about our policies that were passed in the House of Delegates last year, but also a lot of good information about policy and advocacy in general. So please utilize that resource. Use it for your own information, but also to help you as you educate your chapter members on what's going on in the policy world and how we can all be involved in that. We've mentioned several times tonight the Policy Vice President Toolkit on Pharmacists.com. It's a great resource for you. A lot of the questions that we had tonight can be answered by finding resources within that toolkit. So definitely take advantage of that resource. We've put a lot of work into that in the last couple of years, making sure it's up to date and that it has good and useful information for you as you work to help your chapter and to help all of us at APhA. And a lot of the rest of the resources here are found on Pharmacists.com as well. Please fish around on that website, become a key contact and part of that network. Utilize the government affairs page to find out what's going on in the world of policy and how pharmacists need to mobilize, what we can do to help each other promote and protect our profession. and also find the legislative and regulatory e-newsletters there as well, and stay up to date with what's going on. And of course, follow us on Twitter and Facebook at APhA and also APhA-ASP to get the most up-to-date information on what's going on and how and when we need to mobilize, especially as student pharmacists, to move forward and promote our profession. Are there any further questions that came in, Susan, before we wrap things up tonight?
We do have one additional question
Sure.
that asks, what are your thoughts on contributing to the APhA PAC versus State Association PAC, both as far as the best utilization of our chapter fundraisers and in terms of the competition? This is a great question. Michael or Lauren, would you like to answer this one?
Sure. Susan, if I heard the question correctly, it was, is it better to donate to APhA PAC versus a state PAC? Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, APhA's #1 priority is getting pharmacist provider status. All of the funds that we raise through the APhA PAC goes to provider status. That must be obtained through a Congress changing the law. It can't be done. A state can't change federal statute. Only the federal government can. So all of the money you donate to the APhA PAC goes to obtaining provider status, which I know is important to each and every one of you. So that my answer would be donating to the APhA PAC. Not taking anything away from the work that's done within the states. The states do great work, but it's easier to change one law as opposed to 50 different laws. So hopefully that answers your question.
Thanks so much, Michael.
Great. Thank you for all the questions again. And Susan and the rest of the Policy Standing Committee, thank you so much for your work on this webinar. I also want to show you a couple of upcoming webinars. We will have a Policy and Advocacy webinar that is in the works that's specifically about provider status and what we as students need to know about that, what's the latest information on what's going on, and so that will be coming. Keep your eyes open for an invite to that. Also, on March 20th, already scheduled, there will be a webinar for chapter delegate orientation for APhA 2014. Apologize for the typo there. Coming up in March in Orlando, and we're looking forward to seeing you all at the annual meeting and exposition there. So we'll have a delegate orientation shortly before we all join together in Florida, where it's not so cold as it is tonight around the country. One final note, looks like we might have another question coming in. One moment. Okay, just a comment. Great. One final note, we are in the midst of a change in the database at APhA, and so the system that accepts all of the PAC contributions, that is going to be down until February 3rd. So if anybody's jumping on tonight and excited about donating to the PAC, and you're already in the process of trying to make that happen, it might not go through for you tonight. If that's the case, that is the reason why. That system will come back up in early February. So certainly we'd ask that you have a little patience with that as that transition happens, but you will have plenty of time to meet that March 21st deadline to get your donations in. But wanted to make you aware of that one little logistical issue as it may become an issue for you. But aside from that, we certainly hope that this has been helpful to all of you. I want to thank you again for joining us tonight. Our thanks again to Michael Spear and Lauren DePuter for all of the help and information that they provide to us on a regular basis. Again, thank you to Ashley Rowan for joining us from the University of Florida, and of course the Policy Standing Committee for their hard work in putting together this webinar. And thank all of you for your enthusiasm and your hard work at your chapter level and in your local areas to promote our profession and everything you do in a grassroots way to make our profession better and to keep it moving forward. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight, and with that we'll bid you adieu. We're looking forward to seeing you very, very soon in sunny Orlando for APhA 2014 Annual Meeting and Exposition. Thank you all. Good night.